In this walkthrough, we'll show you how to manage client types and how to add and find a client. What is a client? A client in Benson is someone or an entity that holds value to your property. They typically book and stay regularly, receive special rates such as STO or negotiated rates, are trusted with payment terms, and can have an account with your property. Not every guest needs to be added to the client database. For example, if a honeymoon couple books and is unlikely to return, you can simply process the reservation without adding them as a saved client, but rather as a guest under the reservation. However, this section can be managed in a manner that best suits your property's needs. Let's review how to create a new client type. To add a new client type, navigate to Setup section, which can be found under the gear icon, and select Client Types. To add a new client type, select Add Client Type in the upper right-hand corner. Enter your client type name, and select the client category between individual and entity. This choice affects what information is required when creating clients later on, such as an individual client profile will require a first name, last name, date of birth, and identity number, whereas an entity profile will not. Once created, the new client type will appear in the drop-down list when adding clients. If you no longer need a particular client type, you can select View on the Client Type card and select Deactivate and Save. This moves the card to the bottom of the list and also removes it from any drop-downs across Benson. You can also reactivate this at any time by unticking the Deactivate tick box and selecting Save again. And as you can see, this has now been re-added to my active client types. To add a new client, go to the Clients menu as indicated here. You can add a client from either the Search Clients or View Clients option, as both of these options supply the ability to add a client. However, under the View Client option, you also have the ability to search for a client either by reservation number or the invoice number. Let's proceed to adding a new client. Select Add Client and start by selecting the client type. The following fields are always mandatory: entity name, email address, or primary contact number. When adding a contact number, clicking the globe icon will show a drop-down of various country dialing codes. Let's start by entering our entity name. Our contact email address and a primary contact number. From the screen, you can generate a client code which will allow agents to book directly via the web booking engine on their assigned rates. You can enter a code or select Generate a random code, and Benson will create a code for you. Client profiles for travel agents or DMCs allow you to add any associated entities, such as agency holding companies, for example. Please note that this profile already needs to exist within Benson to be able to select it from this menu. This is then followed by the default guest nationality, your client's address details, and lastly, the tax number. After you have entered all the desired entity details, select Save. Once saved, 3 additional options will appear on the Entity Details screen. Opt out of all automated emails and third-party services will opt this client and its contacts out of any automated emails activated within your Benson system. Next is do not automatically cancel reservations by default when used as responsible client, which means the auto cancel function within Benson will not apply to this agent profile. And lastly is deactivating the profile. Profiles can be deactivated and reactivated as necessary. The next section to cover is exclusive rate types. Under exclusive rate types, agent rate types and exclusive guarantee and cancellation policies are added. For example, when an agent has special agreed payment terms with your property, this will be applied here. Select Add Exclusive Rate Type. Select the rate type that applies to this agent. In the next drop-down menu, select your cancellation policy that applies, and the same follows for the guarantee policy that applies after you are happy with your exclusive rate type setup for this client profile. Select Save. This rate, along with the cancellation and assigned guarantee policy, will now be the first rate that is reflected on your reservations screen when making a reservation for this client. Account details allows you to open an account for an agent who has special payment terms, such as paying after travel, which links back to the guarantee policy that you have applied. An account can be opened or closed at any time. From the Report button, you have the option to generate 2 reports: your balance recon or your statement of account. These are helpful documents to send to account holders that have currently open accounts with you, such as they pay in bulk before or after travel. The payment button lets you add a payment to the account. However, this amount will then be unallocated as it needs to be assigned to a specific invoice or reservation. Select Add Payment. Select your payment type, a description if you wish, and the amount that has been paid. Select Next and Confirm. If you already know where the payment should be posted, you can search for the relevant invoice from this page. Select Search Invoice. You can search for the invoice using the invoice number, invoice name, reservation number, selecting an invoice that is closed or open, your closed from and to date, and selecting an invoice that is settled or unsettled. Any invoices that have this profile as the client will reflect. I am going to use my reservation number in this case to search for my invoice. Click Select and Confirm. Enter the payment amount that needs to be allocated to the reservation and confirm. And now, when I open up my reservation, you can see that my R1,000 payment has been allocated accordingly. If payment needs to be allocated later on, open the Payments Received drop-down and select the pen icon. You can then follow the same steps as indicated before. The last option is to create an invoice for the account. Select Create Invoice. Enter the invoice name and save. This will then also allow you to choose a default invoice for the account. This function is mainly used for when an agent wants to pay for something on the guest's behalf, or when something needs to be charged that does not apply to a reservation. The remaining options are Open Invoices, Outstanding Closed Invoices, and Settled Closed Invoices. The Accounts page also shows you deposits held, current open invoices, closed invoices, and the closing balance of the account. Notes specific to an agent profile can be added, such as additions for guests. For example, all guests for this agent get champagne on arrival. To add a note here, select Add Note and select the note type. From here, you have the options to choose if you wish to include this note in the reservation summary, exclude it from reports, and you also have the ability to add any attachments. After attachments, you have the option to choose when the note is displayed, such as at check-in, check-out, creating a reservation, cancelled reservation, or edit reservation. Enter the note select when you wish for it to display. However, note this is not mandatory, and save. The note can later on be edited by hovering over the note, selecting View, and once again typing in your desired changes. Notes can also be deleted from profiles if necessary. To add a consultant that is linked to the agent or client profile, navigate to Consultants on your left-hand menu. Select Add Consultant and enter the relevant contact details. Contacts can also be opted out of automated emails, but note that this will also opt them out of provisional reminders, payment reminders, and cancellation reminders. Contacts can also be deactivated or deleted when necessary. The last section to cover in our client profile overview is originating agents. You can select Client always requires an originating agent, and at the time of booking, when the agent is selected, the reservationist will be forced to add an originating agent. Select Link an originating agent and search for the profile that you wish to link. And now you have linked an originating agent to this client profile. Now, at this stage of making a reservation in the Add Originating Agent field, this agent will always pop up in the drop-down menu. They can also be removed when necessary. When linking an originating agent, you can also add an originating agent, which will take you through the client profile creation steps, as indicated in this walkthrough. Let's review how to find a client. Navigate to the Client section and select Search Client. Enter their full name or a portion of their name and select Search. To view the profile, hover over the agent card and select View. And that is our walkthrough of managing clients and client types within Benson.